Minister of External Affairs Professor G.L.Peries says that the statement made by the Indian Prime Minister in the Indian Parliament made a huge impact on the resolution on Sri Lanka being passed at the Human Rights Council in Geneva. The minister expressed this view at a media briefing held at the Ministry of External Affairs today. A number of ministers who were part of the delegation to the Human Rights Council in Geneva also attended the media briefing.
Now, the problem for us was not the Indian vote, but the Indian statement on the floor of the Indian Parliament, which was made 2.5 days before the crucial vote. A statement on the floor of Parliament by the Indian Prime Minister, as opposed to directions given to the permanent representative in Geneva by the Indian Foreign Minister. So it was a very high-profile statement. The text of that speech was immediately distributed to all delegations in Geneva by the movers of the resolution. And every 10 minutes, without exaggeration, our mission received calls. So it changed the situation totally. Had it not happened, the result would have been different. No relationship between two countries is one-dimensional. And certainly the Indo-Sri Lanka relationship is far from being one-dimensional. It has withstood stronger and greater shocks than this. This is a shock, I say so. It is a deep disappointment to Sri Lanka. So for the future, we have to think of ways and means, not only of continuing the relationship, but indeed developing it, nurturing it. And we plan to do that, recognizing the negative consequences of this action, recognizing that and accepting that, without being disingenuous about it. We must also express our resolve to recognize the inherent importance of that relationship and to work cordially with India in the future. This has happened.
Foreign media reported that Indian Prime Minister Manmohan Singh had sent a letter to the President that India is taking all measures to settle what took place in Geneva. Is there any truth in such reports?
His Excellency the President received a letter from the Indian Premier. Irrespective of what measures they take, let's focus on the final result. It had a major impact on the final result. Furthermore, discussions are not held publicly. They say that they held discussions with those who were sponsoring the resolution and certain amendments were made. However, what matters is the final result.
In this backdrop, what is the future foreign policy of Sri Lanka as a non-aligned country?
We are not taking decisions regarding our embassies based on this outcome. Look at how many Sri Lankan embassies exist in Western Europe. Do you know that we have only 4 embassies in the African continent? Western Africa is a huge area, but we do not have a single embassy there. That should change. We will change this.
Will embassies in Western countries not be given prominence?
There is no necessity to give more prominence to the Western world because prominence has already been given. Clearly, for instance, the entire Asian region, except for India, was with us during this issue. The entire Asian region raised one voice except for India. Therefore, we should take this into consideration when making decisions.
At the media briefing, the Minister of External Affairs also noted that economic sanctions cannot be imposed on the country just because a resolution was passed at the Human Rights Council.
Geneva
There will be absolutely no economic sanctions owing to the resolution that was adopted at the United Nations Human Rights Council. There is no connection between the two. The challenge before us is to protect the sovereignty, independence and dignity of this country. This is something that should unite the country and which goes beyond petty political objectives. So what is the future course of action? That is what is of utmost importance. There is no change in this. We are not doing anything new because there is no need for it.
Well, journalists also questioned the statements made by Sri Lankan representatives at the Human Rights Council.
You made a statement in Geneva stating that caution should be exercised when throwing stones from glass houses. To whom did you issue this warning?
We clearly stated this was directed at the country that sponsored the resolution and all countries that co-sponsored it. There is nothing to hide. We know that certain people follow a two-faced approach internationally. I made this statement to reiterate that point.
Back in 2009, the Human Rights Council's 11th session, convened in 2009. Now, in that report, it says that it welcomes the assurance given by the Sri Lankan government with the implementation of the 13th Amendment to a political solution with regards to conciliation. The government stands on that.
To do this, we have set up the one mechanism that can accomplish this task. Nobody else can do it. As you know, these changes require constitutional modifications. This cannot be done by the executive. It has to be done by Parliament with a specified majority, 2/3. And even that is not enough. There has to be a referendum. So this entire process has to be triggered by a parliamentary select committee, which is an all-party forum. That's the only way to do it. There's no alternative.
For which purpose the TNA has not been given their fullest cooperation. So we had been trying to persuade TNA and we have invited them to appoint their members and participate in the select committee process. Still, we are waiting for their response. Even to the Tamil diaspora, we told them, please ask your TNA members whom you are supporting to come into the select committee. And the select committee has a mandate to go into this issue and complete its deliberation within a period of 6 months. It is not a place where we are going to take a lot of time, like in the earlier cases. The resolution itself appointing the select committee specifically state within 6 months the report must be brought to the Parliament.